William Lee Howard was an American physician. Born in 1860 in Hartford, he received his MD from the University of Vermont in 1890. He died in 1918. He was described as an eccentric, irresponsible character whose native ability was wasted in a desultory, rambling life, and in neglect of those codes which society has erected as safeguards to the perpetuity of the race. Despite how much he argued for these virtues in his work, he almost entirely wrote pamphlets and educational works on sex, such as Plain Facts on Sex Hygiene. However, in 1901 he published today's subject, The Perverts, his only work of fiction. The story concerns the Newcomer family, and says that all the children were born with mental deficiencies because the parents married and had children at about 40. One daughter is a sex maniac who is only shown once. The other daughter, Mizpra, is the antagonist to her brother Leigh the alcoholic. Mizpra is described as mannish in her appearance and her hobbies, while also being a sadist delighting in torturing animals in the research lab, who tries to infect her brother's wife and son with a deadly and painful disease simply because of her desire to seize and keep to herself the family fortune, and due to a desire to cause pain and suffering. Leigh, meanwhile, is dealing with his period bouts of alcoholism or dipsomania, with Mizpra having prejudiced his mother against him so she would deny him his share of the inheritance from his late father. After a poisoning scheme fails, Mizpra hires a former Jesuit to lure Leigh into a bad part of town to have him embroiled in scandal and morally ruined. Except this was his old beat as a doctor, and the woman who was to help ruin him is indebted to him such that she could never betray him, and the plan fails horribly. Bald, the Jesuit, is convinced to help Leigh, and he, Leigh, and Leigh's friend Dr. Bell travel to California, where Mizpra had settled herself after intentionally causing her mother to have a stroke so she could control her once paralyzed. Mizpra had now built a new convent with the help of the Archbishop, aiming to teach the Native American girls of the neighborhood Christianity, but really only using the opportunity to indulge in a sadistic fetish by brutally beating and whipping young girls to unconsciousness with impunity. After sneaking up on her, Leigh barely says a word to her despite this confrontation being built up for 300 pages at this point, and instead she scuffles with Bald and both fall down the balcony and die, and the story just ends. Mizpra poisoning the mind of their mother against Leigh and paralyzing her? Never brought up again. Leigh never even gets to see his mother. The fact that the man Mizpra married to be her lawyer and lackey is prophesied to rebel against her one day? He isn't even part of the climax. And he gets hypnotized by Mizpra only to never really do anything different from what he'd been doing before. Now, if the novel only abandoned plot threads and ended abruptly, I would probably not mind as much. But this is one of those novels, written to propose and defend a pet theory of its author. And boy does Howard have theories to share with his readers. Among the many gems he gives us, such as the teachings of New England suffragist Poison, that effeminate men are wholly disgusting and worthy of ridicule. Quote, the female with masculine ambition is always amusing and often pitiable, and that if such women do have children, that very fact makes them a menace to society. He also proposes virtual eugenics by demanding laws regulating the marriage rights of consumptives or people with weak physical constitutions. He will also exposit on his pet theory that dipsomania is caused by abnormal cells releasing poison into the body, while going on and on about how to immediately suppress any eccentricity in a child, while making sure to surround them with youngins of the same sex to stop them acting as the other gender, inserting these diatribes into chapters to halt progress, even quoting his own articles. Oddly, the man goes out of his way to praise Poe, quotes the Fall of the House of Usher at length, and even dedicates the book to him. The final scene in the red sadomasochistic secret chapel is gothic, surely, but this feels like an odd work to dedicate to the man. Also, Howard is wrong about most things he says. Just saying.